Hi, Emma. Thanks for joining me today to tell us a little bit more about audio enhancement.
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I think to start, why don't we do just a quick introduction of yourself and then tell us a little bit about audio enhancement. Who are they, and what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, my name's Emma Washbush. I'm the regional sales director at Audio Enhancement, covering the Midwest territory. I've been with Audio Enhancement for almost 3 years now. And yeah, who is Audio Enhancement? When you hear the name, you think of maybe just classroom audio, which is really how we started. We started with, providing those classroom audio solutions for teachers and students by putting in multiple ceiling speakers inside a standard sized classroom to evenly distribute that teacher's voice to be able to provide that equity from within the classroom. But in our over 47 years of business, we've evolved a lot. So taking those same set of speakers that are in that classroom and creating an intercom paging and bell system that we called Epic. We started getting schools telling us, hey, I'm not putting in a set of speakers from an audio company, an intercom company. So we created the first ever K-12 only intercom system, giving you the ability to have that two-way communication, being able to communicate into a specific room and having them communicate back to you, doing your one-way paging, being able to set up your bell schedule and change it at a moment's notice, as well as your emergency notifications throughout a school. And then we've really evolved by having teachers tell us like, hey, this is what we need in our classrooms, that you already have the piece of equipment that I'm wearing 8 hours a day being that teacher microphone. Can you build in a duress button to be able to help us signify if we ever have an emergency happening in our classroom? So that's how we develop the safe system, by putting in that duress button. So the teacher just has to hold the two buttons for 3 seconds, and it sends a silent alert from within the classroom to the front office to be able to say, hey, we have an emergency happening here and we need help. And then administrators were like, this is great information for us to have, but we need to be able to see what's happening inside of that classroom so that we can respond appropriately. Is it a disciplinary issue? Is it a medical emergency? Is it a worst case scenario? What's happening? And with that, that's how we developed the classroom cameras, which we call ViewPath. And over time, teachers started saying, hey, that's a nice camera. Can we use it for instructional and learning purposes, to be able to record our lessons, to be able to do remote learning, use it for professional development, and be able to use it for our teacher evaluations? And that's how we really developed ViewPath for that instruction and that safety and security purpose. So as you can tell at Audio Enhancement, we've really grown in our 47 years of business to be able to help schools and say, hey, here's what we're able to do. We can integrate with your existing infrastructure that you already have invested in your schools. We're even able to do live translation, which we call Clear Connect, using the same classroom audio equipment you would already be using inside of your classrooms.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys do have a ton of great solutions for our customers, and you've been a great partner over the years. So if a school district is interested in one of those solutions that you just described, next step would be to reach out to a local integrator such as Marco. And then what does that process look like after that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, that's definitely, you'd reach out to your local integrator such as Marco, and what they would do then is loop me in and we'd be able to sit down and identify your pain points. Like what do you need and how can we help, and identify those solutions and what part of audio enhancement can help you right now. So like it doesn't have to be a one size fits all. We know it's not cookie cutter. What you tell us is your story, what you need, and then we make our solutions fit your district or your school. It's not you make your school or district fit audio enhancement. We'll do what we need to do to make it fit for you. We're very adaptable. We can, like we said, we can integrate with a lot of your existing infrastructure. And after that, is when we're able to sit down and help create the story for what you need. As we were talking about earlier, we can dive in a little bit more into our four solutions, and the two main ones being our classroom audio and our intercom paging and bell system. So I'll really start with our audio solutions. So our audio, the biggest misconception when you have classroom audio is that we're trying to make teachers louder, when in actuality, we're trying to make them clearer, providing that intelligible audio from within the classroom. A lot of times we compare it to light because light and audio are very similar, meaning that they dissipate over a certain amount of distance. So a lot of times you wouldn't just put one really bright light bulb in the front of the room and say some of that light will get to the back of the room. Probably not. Audio is that same way. So this is just showing that no matter where the teacher is inside of the classroom, their volume is going to dissipate over a certain amount of distance. So what do teachers do to compensate for that? They use their teacher voice to make sure that kids, no matter where they are in the classroom, this teacher can, or the students can hear. But what that could sound like for the students that are sitting closest to that teacher is that the teacher is yelling, when that's not what they're trying to do at all. They're just trying to make sure that all of their students can hear from within the classroom. So by putting on that teacher microphone and installing those ceiling speakers inside the classroom, you're providing that even distribution of sound so that no matter where that teacher is in the classroom, all the students can hear. Using that same classroom audio equipment, you have our live translation solution, which is called Clear Connect. Using that same teacher microphone that the teacher's already wearing, for any students who are second language or English language learners, they're able to, just join a session online on their Chromebook. They can use their headsets and it will provide a live translation and transcription to the teacher. It's a microphone that the teacher's already wearing, so it's not picking up on that background noise. And it provides that translation straight to the student. So you could have one single teacher teaching a lesson to a student who's listening in Spanish, another student who's listening in German, and providing that live translation to the student. So it's a really cool feature that you would already be getting by having that classroom audio equipment. This slide is just showing something really cool that shows that actually classroom audio has been the longest studied piece of technology inside of our classrooms to enhance student performance, increase student engagement, reduce teacher throat discomfort. It's been the longest piece of studied technology. It's really cool, actually. Then we get to our EPIC system, which is the intercom, paging, and bell system. So we have 4 main highlights when it comes to EPIC. This is super common and what we still see in schools every day, the old analog systems, because the average school is about 49 years old, with only 21% of those schools having any type of major renovations. So a lot of times schools really still have that original PA system that the school was built with. Our intercom, paging, and bell system is called EPIC. It's an IP-based intercom system, so it lives on your network. The first highlight is that intercom, that two-way communication, being able to communicate into a specific classroom and that classroom communicating back to you. So what it looks like is you have this 24-inch, basically big tablet that we call the kiosk. It acts as the interface of the front office. So what you have is your building map on there, and then you're actually able to, press on that room number, hit intercom, and you have that two-way communication. Then we have paging. Paging's one-way communication, being able to communicate into a specific area of the school. So let's just say it's picture day. You call on the first grade classrooms. Hey, first graders, it's picture day. Please come down to the cafeteria to get your pictures taken. That one-way communication. Then we have our bell schedule. I've never had to change a bell schedule, but I heard it can be kind of a nightmare. This is showing an example of how to set up a bell schedule for an entire year. But living in the Midwest, it can get kind of cold, or we can get some snow. So if we ever have like a 2-hour late start day due to cold weather or snow, all the school has to do is hit the day, hit 2-hour late start, and then hit save. And then your bell schedule is changed for the day. You may even see here that we have this phone down in the corner. It's because we also have an application. So you're actually able to even update your bell schedule from the app itself. Then we have our school-wide notification, being able to distribute those emergency notifications from within your intercom system. So whether that's your fire drills, your tornado drills, lockdowns, shelter in place, etc., you're able to do that just directly from the kiosk that has a designated page for that, or from the application itself. So those are the 4 main highlights to our EPIC intercom, paging, and bell system.
Awesome. That's great information. Thank you for walking us through that. So if a school district is interested in learning more, the next step would be to reach out to a local integrator such as Marco. And then what does that process look like after the fact?
Absolutely. So yeah, you're exactly right. You'd reach out to a local integrator just like Marco, and we can set up time so I can provide you the full solution. So we just went over two of our four main solutions. We'd be able to cover all of them, which is our audio, Epic, Safe, and ViewPath system. We'd be able to identify what your pain points are within the district itself and how we can help support your solution because it's not cookie cutter. We make our solution designed to your school or your district.